Hello and welcome to the Wow Show, an hour full of stories from and for truck drivers on the road. We're going to have fun saying thank you for who you are and what you do as drivers. And we're going to talk to some people who know their stuff so that we can learn more. My name is David Binyachek. I'm your host. Let's get started. Hey there, Canada. It's David and the Wow Show. Welcome to this week's show. Some cool things happening today. As you know, on the Wow Show, we do three things. We tell driver stories. We celebrate with some contests to say thank you for who you are. And then thirdly, we bring on experts who know their stuff to help us get better. We've done a lot of the latter over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so this week it's focused on a lot of fun and also driver stories. So two gentlemen you're going to get to meet, interviews that we're taking a part of, and they're related to kind of winning the monthly photo contests, both on the Wow Trucks Facebook page and the All Out Big Rigs No Limits Facebook group. These two gentlemen from opposite ends of the country. We've got first up my interview with Scott Sewell, who by winning the Wow Trucks monthly Facebook photo contest with his Western Star Lomax, won a spot in next year's Wow Trucks calendar, won a $50 gift certificate to Montana's restaurant, and I had the chance to catch up with him. He's in Heartland, New Brunswick. Now, I had never heard of Heartland, New Brunswick until this year, and now I'm hearing about it a lot. And because he lives about 3 blocks away, as it turns out, from the main office of Day and Ross Transportation. It's not who he drives for, but Day and Ross has come on as a supporter of the Wow Show and just supporting good in the industry. So I want to welcome them aboard. And Scott is from Heartland, New Brunswick. Only fitting that we've got an owner-operator with a very cool story of how he took over his truck from the person that he was working for to be part of this interview and to be from that region as well. So that's going to be interview number 1. You're going to meet a cool Maritimer, Scott Sewell, from Heartland, New Brunswick. Interview number 2, we come out to Alberta and Rimbey, Alberta, central Alberta, and a young man named Jayde Koecher. And Jayde was the winner of the All Out Big Rigs contest. And as such, we wanted to find out more about his story. Stories are cool. We learn from people's stories. We laugh with people because of their stories. They're cool to tell. And today we've got 2 great stories about 2 Canadian owner-operators, 2 professional drivers that I think you're going to enjoy. And so stay tuned for those. We're going to end off the show with the second segment of the Wow Nationals. It's not so natural because the racetrack isn't real. The call is all in Slammy Salmon's head, but it is the Wow Nationals virtual big rig racing and a Canadian championship once again decided for the month of June. So at the end of today's show, we've actually, last month we only had 1 race, and that decided the winner. But this month, we've got 2 qualifiers that are happening today. There's 8 racers from all across the country, from East Coast to West Coast, including a legendary NABRR racer who entered, Mr. Swervin Mervin Perderney. If you are an NABRR fan, you'll recognize that name. And there's going to be 2 qualifying heats. The top 2 positions, finishers in each of those qualifying heats, will head into the final. And the finals call is going to be made next week on Monday, June 28th on the Wow Show. At the end of the Wow Show, we're going to do the finals call, or Slam and Sammy will do that call to determine the Canadian champion. So I'm pumped. You're going to love these race calls. Again, Let's Go International Speedway doesn't actually exist. The race calls, Slam and Sammy, he's just a really good friend, an awesome gentleman, legally blind. And so what happens is we have a great time doing these calls, and you're going to love his calls and laugh at his calls, and it'll hold you in suspense. But every trucker that entered these races made a minimum donation to the Lions Foundation Guide Dogs of Canada in support of something that's changed Gary's life and that very few people know about, but that changes lives. So while we're going to have fun with these virtual races, and you have to stay tuned and listen to today's two calls, it's doing a lot of good, and so it fits into our mission, it fits into our theme, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. So happy Monday to you. I hope the sun is shining on your hood and on your soul. Interview number one, my talk with the Wow Trucks Monthly Photo Contest winner. His Western Star is going to be in next year's 2022 Wow Trucks calendar, Mr. Scott Sewell from Heartland, New Brunswick. Here we go.
But I'll try not to swear, but sometimes, you know, we might have to edit that out.
We got to be real. So it's okay. It's all right. So what is things like in Heartland, New Brunswick this morning?
Oh, pretty good. I was just down waxing the truck there. It's raining a little bit outside, but it's nice and cool. So good day for doing some work on the truck.
I saw the post that says it's been clean for a week and it's a record.
Yeah, that's the first time this year that I washed it and made it all week with it still clean.
That means you're a hard working man.
Well, I like to think so, but other people probably disagree.
Oh, come on. Well, Scott, congratulations on winning the photo contest. I look forward to featuring your story in next year's calendar. And we chatted on the phone. We're going to find a way to make that work, because I got to get out east this summer somehow. Hopefully COVID will break through the barrier and come out east, and we can connect and do a photo shoot somewhere and get to meet in person. That would be awesome.
Yeah, sure would.
You got it. So you've got this beautiful black, purple Western Star. Tell us about your truck.
It's just a 2018 Lomax Western Star glider with an old 60 Series Detroit in it.
Nice. Are you the first owner of it?
Well, it's my boss that I got it. I'm the only one that's ever drove it. I was driving it for another guy, and then I end up buying it myself. Yes.
You got it. So we're going to get into your story, but let's pay tribute, because you got a little thing on the side of your truck in memory of Wayne Stewart.
Yeah.
So when you talked about your boss, that was Wayne. And Wayne passed away recently. And so tell us about that story. Let's pay tribute to the man. Because how long did you work for him?
Would have been 10 years in March that I worked for him.
So he obviously treated you horribly.
Oh yeah. He was a horrible boss.
He's gonna come back from the grave.
I can hear him saying bad words to me right now.
So let's just pay tribute to Wayne Stewart. Tell me about him. Tell me about his company, and you've obviously bought his truck, and you have your own legacy, but you're honoring his ongoing. Tell me about Wayne.
Yeah, well, I'd always known who Wayne Stewart was. He's pretty well known from coast to coast pretty well for having fancy gear and everything. He's owned trucks for years, and I went to work for him back in, it would have been, I guess I'm not good with math, but it would have been 10 years ago in March.
Yeah.
And went to work for him, and we developed a good friendship, and I've had a lot of nice rigging. He always looked after me well, and everything. We become good friends. We were better friends than employee and boss for the past 4 or 5 years. So it kind of hit home bad when he passed. But we'd sit a lot of times drinking whiskey, talking about that this truck here. Even when we build it, he said, "This truck will be yours someday." So when he passed, I said, "I guess I better go buy her."
Now's the time. So you've gone from company driver to owner operator.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wayne Stewart, you did good, and we honor your memory today, and we celebrate your friend Scott, and we're going to celebrate him in the calendar, and by that we're going to also celebrate Wayne's memory. But that is awesome. How's that switch been? You've gone from owner operator to company driver, from company driver to owner operator. How's that switch going for you?
Oh, it seems to be, like I say, I've been driving for 17 years, so it's not really that different. A little more responsibility and stuff, but I mean, he'd been training me for this for a long time, so it's not really been that different, really.
It's just like a slightly step on a different sidewalk, and you keep on moving and
That's
going
right,
forward.
Yeah.
So 17 years ago, and you were driving for him for 10, which means you worked for other companies before that. What got you into trucking?
Just ever since I was old enough to talk, I wanted to drive truck like my dad. I always rode around with him any chance I could get. And I always said I was going to drive truck. And he said, "Oh no, you're going to do something better with your life than that. You're not going to be no truck driver." Anyway, I stuck with her right the whole way up through, and that's all I've ever done. So
You know what? And it's not uncommon, and I laugh at it, but I get angry at it. But because it's not all that common, it's like you could. I want you to do better. And I, this is all about honoring what you do. I mean, there are a ton of people that couldn't do what you do. It's an important job. It's an essential job. And so in terms of better, truck drivers are some of the best. And you know what? It was kind of cool when you won. I just saw a number of people. You obviously have some fans because they were quickly on there supporting, happy for you. You said I may not be good at math, but you built friendships. And when you build friends, you don't have to be good at everything.
that's true. That's true. And I have made a lot of friends in this industry from coast to coast, Canada and US, and that's one of the best parts about it.
Yeah. So tell me, where all do you travel? Where does this truck go? Does the truck have a name? Do you have a nickname for the truck?
Not really. I've always said I should name it, but I don't have a name for the truck. No.
All right. Do you have a nickname?
Billy Bob. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Everybody, I got my big bald head. So from the old movie Varsity Blues, I used to have an old Chevy pickup, just like Billy Bob had in that movie, and that's where my nickname come from.
So Billy Bob, where do you travel?
Mostly the U.S. It's up in a lot of eastern seaboard in the U.S., but I do on occasion run clear across the United States, and then in Canada, just Ontario East.
Okay, that's sweet. Now you're based out of Heartland, New Brunswick.
Yes.
And a cool town that is a transport town because you've got another major transport company. You said you're about a half a mile away from Day and Ross headquarters in terms of where you are. Were you born there? Is that where you're born and raised?
Yep, just out back here in the woods a few miles, yeah, but I've always been right around Heartland my whole life, yes.
That's awesome. What's the best thing about growing up in Heartland?
Well, just small town, everybody knows everybody. It's just I'm not much of a city boy. I like the country, so being in a small town with only 800 or 900 people, you can't go to town without seeing somebody and no traffic jams, none of that stuff.
Yeah. No, that's good. The Maritimes is a special place. I love going there, whether I'm speaking or whether I'm taking photos. You know what? I haven't had the chance to get out and do a lot of photo shoots of trucks in the Maritimes. I feature a lot of maritime truckers, but I've normally met them in Quebec or in Ontario when they've been there. And so I'm dying to do that. I've got two younger girls. They're entering their teenage years. I've got to get them out to the Maritimes because they need some exposure to, and they're great girls, but everyone needs exposure to maritime hospitality. And
I agree.
Yeah, it's super cool. As a Canadian, I brag about it all the time to everybody that I meet. And I think it's awesome. Where do you think that spirit comes from? Like, what makes Maritimers so cool? Just in terms of being hospitable, reaching out to other people and wanting to help. And where does that come from?
Well, so nobody can seem to figure that out. I think it's just that we're not down here. The population is so dense. You're not overpopulated. You're not always crowded, and everybody just seems to always be in a more helpful mood than in other parts of the country.
Nice. So tell me, family. Do you have family? Are you single? Tell me about Billy Bob and his life.
Oh yeah, I'm single. Just trucking's pretty well my life. I pretty well eat, sleep, breathe trucks. That's the scary part. But and my father still drives truck to this day. He's 69 years old, and he's still plugging up and down the road every day. So
that's amazing. What's your dad's name?
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Okay. Dwayne. Yep. Shout out to you. That's cool. We may have to. Does he ever tag along? Have you ever done team with your dad?
We have just the odd little bit, yeah, but see him going the other direction mostly a lot of the time, but that's about it. But he runs across the border too, so do get to run into him some down there and run with him a little bit.
Yeah.
That's where my passion came from. I washed and polished his truck every weekend when I was a kid, and I said, I want to drive a big shiny truck someday. So I guess I'm living my dream.
So if you were doing that for your dad, you were obviously his favorite son.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And he's going to leave everything to you. 40, 50 years from now, he's got a long ways to go, but 40, 50 years from now, you get the whole kit and caboodle. No, that's good. So you're driving a Western Star. Is that your choice of, do you love that brand? Are you brand loyal, or it happens to
Well,
be?
it was that my boss was there's a small dealership in town here, Valley Equipment, and he bought, you couldn't count how many trucks and trailers he's bought in his lifetime, or in his lifetime, and every piece of equipment he ever bought came from Valley Equipment. So he was limited when it come time. Like, I had 3 trucks for him, and every time I got to choose what I wanted for a truck, but it had to be something to come from there. So it was either a Freightliner or a Western Star. So,
Okay.
and I'd never had a Western Star. So when it come to get a new one the last time, I said, I think I'd like to try a Western Star. So he just said, well, if that's what you want, that's what you'll have. So
Yeah, you know what?
but I do love it. That's the first one, but I do like the Western Stars.
Every OEM has their pluses and minuses depending on who you are and what your purpose is and what you're doing. They're kind of fit for certain niches. What do you love about your Western Star?
The main thing, I mean, it's low and everything, but I like being different. I don't like being the same. Like, it's just a done up Western Star or something like that, or a Freightliner where there's not so many of them going up and down the road stands out more than, I mean, Peterbilts and Kenworths are beautiful trucks, but in an hour driving up the road, you'll meet 50 of them going.
Yeah.
Whereas you take something different and try to make it look good, you'll stand out a lot more. That's what I like being different.
Yes, that's cool. That is awesome. And your star certainly is beautiful. So that shot on Route 66, when was it taken? The winning photograph?
That was taken in December of 2019, and I don't remember the name of the town. It was somewhere east of Barstow, just off of 40. Get
Okay.
off there, and the old Route 66 was there, and it was painted in the road. And I'd talked to a guy in Barstow the night before, and then I seen on his Snapchat that he'd taken a picture there. So I messaged him. I said, "Where did you take that? Because I'd like to do that."
Yeah.
He told me what exit to get off, and the next day when I left, I stopped there and took a bunch too. So it was pretty neat. I like the old story of Route 66 and everything, so it was pretty neat to get that picture.
Well, you know what? It's been a lucky highway for people wanting to be in the Wow Trucks calendar, because Jean-Luc Barc, who won in January, he has a picture on that route as well. So he's got the Route 66, a different angle of the truck, but kind of the similar location, and it won. So to anybody that's listening to the show, that is the way that you get into the calendar, is to win our monthly Facebook photo contest. And if you're on Route 66, it seems to be a popular pick. And that's not to diminish in any way. I mean, Jean-Luc has an amazing ride, and so do you, Scott.
Koecher, I know him anyway. So yeah, he has an amazing truck. Yeah.
Cool. I like it. So there's going to be friends in the calendar. That's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah. So let's talk industry. What are you liking about the industry these days? Where can it improve? What's going on in trucking from your perspective?
Well, trucking is going downhill in my perspective. I mean, it's not as fun as it used to be years ago. It's just there's the professionalism and common courtesy from other drivers just isn't there anymore. I mean, I still enjoy trucking. I really do. But the common courtesy is the biggest thing. Like, it's not there anymore. And it is taking some of the fun out of it, but that just drives me to take more pride in it and try to be better than most of them.
Do you know what? We control no one else, but we have influence by controlling the only person we do, which is ourselves. So kudos to you to continue that attitude on the road and do that. What do you think contributes to that? I've had a few people say that, and yet, you know, there are some young drivers that I've met that are phenomenal, and they get it, and you know, they care, and they take pride in what they do, and they are out there. But in general, we're seeing this general shift, or people are perceiving a general shift. What do you think's behind that?
Well, I probably shouldn't say it on here, but it seems to be the people that aren't from North America that are the worst for the being, like, taking their half-hour break, parked right at the fuel island and all that stuff. And it's just simple stuff, like just use some common courtesy for your fellow drivers. But it seems to be the people that are coming over here. But I understand a lot of people, like, I don't hardly know anybody my age even that wants to drive truck.
Yeah.
And I don't really blame them, the way the industry is going with the logs. And I mean, yeah, you can't, it's not the same as it was 15 years ago. So I can understand no young people wanting to be gone 2 weeks to a time and all that stuff. So, I mean, we have to bring truck drivers in from other spots,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's just not enough training for them when they come or what it is, but there's definitely a problem somewheres in the trucking industry.
Yeah, I mean, they're coming out with a new training standard for the country that hopefully provinces live up to. But I agree. A lot of times, in this rush to get fill seats, there are a lot of driving training companies. Not all, but there are some that are just 2 weeks in and out, and there's a lot of things that drivers don't learn, and it's not even the trainees' fault. I mean, they're in a program that's meant just to push them out and get them behind the wheel, and it's not doing anybody any favors. So, where'd
Oh
you?
no, I've had it wasn't long ago. I'll tell just a short little story. Not too long ago, there was a guy come in and he was a foreigner of some sort, but he come in, he parked right crossways in front of a whole bunch of trucks in the truck stop, and he get out and he was trying to slide his wheels, and I get out and I was a little mad. I was trying to get out, but after talking to him for a minute or two, I realized the poor guy had no sweet clue how to slide his wheels. He did not. He said he'd only been out on his own for a couple of weeks. He had no idea. I said, well, look, I got out here to rip and roar at you for blocking me in, but I said, I'm going to show you how to slide your wheels.
Yeah.
So I showed him, and he was ever grateful. Shook my hand, thanked me 3 or 4 times. But I just they shouldn't be out there if they don't know how to do that stuff. Like, these schools should be training them this stuff before they send them out there.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem that I can see.
I did an interview with Andy with MTI down in British Columbia, but it's a training school that does it right, and so that'll be broadcasting. You know what? Maybe I'm going to put your interview with his, because it kind of ties in together on the WOW show that this appears on, because it is important. Who taught you how to drive?
My father, just from riding around with him and driving the truck around the dooryard when on the weekends to wash it and all that stuff. And then when I had my permit, I went with Dad every chance I could get. And then I did have another buddy of mine, but he was on Dan Ross actually for years. A buddy of mine, he used to let me help me out a little bit, and
Cool.
and yeah. So, but I've been around trucks my whole life, so it was pretty well bred right in me right from a young age.
How many generations in your family? So your dad drove. Did your grandfather drive?
No, my grandfather on my father's side never. My grandfather on my mother's side, he drove some, and then I've got a couple uncles on that side that drive. And well,
Perfect. So looking forward, Scott, or Billy Bob, what's in your future? So you obviously just started this journey as an owner operator. You love what you do. And even though things are kind of changing, you've got that passion for what you do, which is what we honor. That's why we do this calendar. We celebrate people who still take pride in what they do. What's the future look like for you?
I'll just keep on doing the same, I guess. Keep the truck shiny and up and down the road.
All right. Well, don't stop, my friends. We honor you for what you do. It's going to be great to tell your story, and so people can stay tuned in terms of, we'll probably do some live when we get together and do the shoot. Yep. We'll find each other in Ontario or Quebec or someplace, or if you get out west, say you do North America, every once in a while. You said Montana is one of your favorite places in the U.S., and that's my kitty corner neighbor. So when we cross the border, that's the state that we head into from Alberta, and it is beautiful. So if you're ever out there, there's a ton of great stuff. It'd be cool to do a shoot out there. But we're going to get her done. And once again, congratulations. Appreciate you, and keep on being awesome.
Well, I appreciate this opportunity and the chance of being in the calendar. I think Wayne would be pretty proud of that if he was still around. So.
Yeah, I think he's going to stop swearing at you and come down and be proud. And so that's a great way to pay tribute. That's cool. Essential, ESSENTIAL, essential. I'm in a spelling bee. No, I'm not. The Essentials trailer is a very cool, relevant, and authentic project spearheaded by Glenn Caldwell, NAL Insurance, and the Private Motor Transport Carrier Group out in Niagara Falls that involves a number of trucking carriers. They got together and they deckled a trailer and they raffled it off to certain companies to be able to take that trailer around in their communities and remind essential workers, Truck drivers, yes, but also policemen, firemen, hospital workers, nurses, doctors, you name it, across the spectrum. Remind them that they're important, remind them that they're essential, and just to say thank you and create some community spirit. Next is my interview with Jeff Lambier. Ivan Armstrong Trucking is one of those companies that won the right to take the trailer and to parade it around their community and to engage essential workers and the community with this very important message. I had the chance to sit down with Jeff, hear about that story, his story, and I think you're going to like it. Jeff Lambier, Ivan Armstrong Trucking. Here we go. Okay, congratulations. You two produce cute little kids.
Yes, we do. Thank you very much.
I've been spoofing your Facebook site, and that picture with your girl and the Harley and the one where it's just the two of you, says Daddy's Girl all over it.
Yes, that's actually my dad's bike. He bought that off his brother that passed away.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it was really cool. So
you inherited well, you get to ride a bike or a Harley every once in a while.
Yeah, he actually got a second one. He traded his 55 two-door post for one. And so me and him go riding. We went riding once, but we're going to go a couple more times this year.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to meet you, Jayde. That's awesome. Hi, your wife's name is?
Sarah.
Hi.
Sarah?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Sarah. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is the little one giving you sleep? Are you able to sleep? Are you able to sleep? Is your little boy giving you some sleep time? Or
yeah, he's getting there. He's getting better every day.
How old is he?
6 months.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
If ever you wanna fill us in with a story about this guy, just feel free to just like pop into the scene, and then you can give us the goods on Jayde here.
Okay, sounds good.
Actually, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. So
that's awesome. That is the truth. Behind every good man, there's a good woman.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ty's in hair and makeup, so he should be here soon.
Hair and makeup. Jesus, and here I just shoved the cap on so I didn't show my COVID hair.
Actually, he didn't respond to your notes. I don't know if he's caught up in customs, if he's at the border or where he's at, but he heard us. Ty Jam, admit. We'll bring him into the room. Ty Jam.
Yes, Dad.
What's your boy's name?
Logan Cruz.
Logan Cruz. How cool is that?
Yeah.
The girls are swooning already.
Yeah, and then our other one's Jaylin Aaliyah.
Logan Cruz, I gotta write that down. And Jaylin Aaliyah?
Jaylin, Jaylin.
Okay.
And then she can spell Aaliyah because I always screw it up.
ALIA.
Did you get that?
I didn't. I'm hearing Ty's on the CB.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Logan's is we spell Cruz a little differently. It's CRUZ.
CRUZ. That's how I spelt it. I wrote that down. So that is confirmation that that's the way that name is supposed to be spelt.
Yeah. That's funny.
Awesome. Hey Ty, you got some CB action going on in the background.
Yeah, I had to turn it down there. Sorry about that. It's like that stupid thing doesn't go off for days and days, and then right when I join in, somebody decides to talk.
Isn't that how it always works?
Yeah.
So Ty, I told Jayde that you're in hair and makeup and you'll be back soon. So Canada senior face, they'll miss it when it's not on this call, but they've got Jayde, so that's all good.
Yeah.
It's actually funny because my truck went in for I split the core separated there just the other day, so I dropped it off yesterday to get fixed. It just gave me confirmation I can go to Edmonton and get it now. So
All right, on. You need a lift? I got to be there in the morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pick it up tonight. I stole my buddy's 75 Chevy and brought it home, so I got to take it back home.
Very
You know
cool.
what, Jade? Ever since Ty and I have gotten to know each other, he doesn't come through Calgary anymore. He goes to Edmonton.
Oh, does he?
And yeah, so I never get the chance to see him. Like it's like I think he takes those routes on purpose.
Oh, you're down in Calgary?
I'm in Calgary.
Oh, my father lives in the Northeast.
Okay, cool. I'm in the west southwest.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Calgary where because it's 32 degrees today, a whole bunch of, I guess the heat wave knocked out a bunch of energy from NMAX, and a bunch of the lights aren't working in Calgary, and so our streets are a mess. There's
Oh no.
lights that are now
Just in time for rush hour. Awesome.
Yeah. So I was doing some photography today. I just got back in. Luckily, I was on Glenmore Trail, which isn't lighted, and so it actually wasn't that bad. I was glad that I kind of snuck back home and got inside. So, but it's summer and I'm loving it. Sunshine, 32. After this isn't my favorite temperature all the time. I don't want this all the time, but after a winter, this feels so good.
Yeah, it's definitely been nice. I baked on the back deck a little bit there yesterday, so.
Cool. Well, Jade, congratulations on being the recent winner of the All Out Big Rigs photo contest.
Thank you.
Yeah. It sounds like you and Ty know each other. You have previous experience with the Ty Jam Master.
I don't know. I've been just hammering pictures on there and trying to be a little bit active on the page. So
cool. Ty, what do you know about Jade?
That he drives a really sexy white Peterbilt with a really shiny moose bumper.
Yeah.
that's about all I know of the guy, honestly.
Actually, it's actually funny because me and the wife ordered that truck and it came in 2 years ago as of June 15th, I think, or July 15th, they put it in service. And
Okay.
2 years in the making of getting it to polish, and my wife can never understand, why do you got to polish truck? Why do you got to waste money like that? I'm like, because it's something about a shiny truck that only certain people understand.
But
and
this month, it all became worth it because it's now King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I must admit something to it is I couldn't have did it, and it's actually a really funny story. So I started looking for people to polish my trucks, and I've had quotes, and it's like, well, I gotta go all the way to Edmonton. I gotta go all the way here. So I finally found a local guy in Red Deer, and it actually turns out that his dad passed away, and he was the original Shine guy, and Kevin, his son, took over the business and was asked to come back into polishing. So now he's trying to build up his clientele. And I said, well, I got a truck for you to do. And he's like, bring it on in. I'd love to do it. So I started following his page. And it was actually really funny because I was somehow got on night shift and I had to have the truck there first thing in the morning. And I'm like, the truck is dirty. I got to wash this. I found out that BAMS has a 24-hour access to a car wash. I washed it at 2:30 in the morning and got to a shop at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then basically worked with him through the day. And then a buddy of his came in and was like, I'd love to shoot this truck. And Kevin says, well, the owner's at the back. So his buddy came back and he said, love to shoot your truck. And I said, well, man, all my money's going into the shop polish. I can't afford to pay you to shoot. He says, listen, I do frack by living. He says, I want to get into the photography. So he says, I'll do it for free. So awesome. Between Kevin running the Shine guys and Koecher running the Koecher Creations, we all came together and put out a spectacular truck and just decided to go around Red Deer and do a bunch of photo shoots. And
it is beautiful. Go ahead, Ty.
That story is awfully familiar, or very, very close to how David and I actually met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's minus the whole polishing part, but Tina from Lesko had called me and said, this David guy wants to meet up with you and do a photo shoot with your truck. And I didn't know anything about WOW trucks or anything like that. And so I thought it was just somebody wanted to take a picture of my truck. And I show up there and I quickly hand polished my truck up real quick and met up with David, and we did. He was so professional. I was like, this is really, really weird. I was just thinking it was somebody that wanted to take a picture of my truck for well, I didn't even know why,
Oh,
honestly.
come on. You get that at least 2 times a day. Someone wants to take a picture of your truck.
Well,
Yeah, I was like totally blown away because I'm like, you want to take a picture of my truck? He's like, your truck would look so good in sunset. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess so. And like, it's just been really weird in the making. And it was just, like I've envisioned this truck for ever since I started driving trucks. And it's like, I want to get into it. And then our one truck was just causing us grief. And we just had to either get out of it or go new. And we went new. And I told the wife, I want to custom order it. I want to do what I want to do so we don't have to put much more money into it. And I did exactly that. And we got tons of night shots and it's
that's really cool.
one of a kind. So
That's awesome. So a custom order took a couple of years, but today actually just a new order, a plain order takes a couple of years with all the part shortages. So
well, and that's the thing. I was just talking to my sales guy, Ray, and he says right now Peterbilt is a year behind. He says, you want to order a truck, it's going to be a year. And I'm just like,
and you know what it is? It's one part, it's a chip.
Yeah.
Apparently that's blocking, most of the OEMs from fulfilling their orders or being like a year behind in terms of being able to deliver what you're going to pay for. And so it's wow. But no, they did a good job. So let's give these guys a plug. So you said, is it the Shine Guys? Because you referred to them as the Shine Guys, and at first I thought it was just the Shine Guy, i.e. Shine.
Oh, the Shine Guys, yeah. His dad so Kevin was the original guy's name, and he was out of Lacombe.
Yeah.
And he had passed away.
Yeah.
And then his son knew how to polish, and he was actually approached by the owner of Freightliner in Red Deer saying he wanted him to start polishing again. And Kevin said, well, I don't know. And the guy said, I'll give you part of the shop and stuff. So Kevin moved in, he did a bunch of work, and then said, no, I'm going to get my own shop. And he's been trying to get his name back out there to let his dad's legacy live on.
Awesome. So was that Don Patterson at Freightliner in Red Deer?
I think so. That was his. He's the one that apparently got Kevin back in.
Cool. So when people want to look up Kevin on Facebook, what do they look for?
Just look up the Shine Guys.
The Shine Guys, and they're out of Alberta.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's cool. Because good work is hard to find. And, he did an amazing job on your truck.
He actually did, and he actually pointed out one thing with the headache crack, because I had the headache crack repaired by a friend out by Rimby.
Yeah.
And Kevin came straight up to me. He says, he says, when the guy bent this, his dies went a little deep. He says, the gouges are a little deep on the back of the headache crack. He says, I can make them look good, but if I sand them right out, you're going to have a really wavy job, and I can't do that. He says, that's not the work I do. So he says, you're going to have to live with the marks. I said, not a problem. And in the pictures, you can't even tell unless you're a foot or two away. So
cool.
He does a really good job at bringing up concerns and stuff. So
cares about what he does. It takes that. I mean, kudos to these guys. I mean, like a good polish and shine is not cheap, but man, they spend a lot of time. I mean,
yeah, well, and that's the thing. He quoted me a certain price, and he was like, this job actually turned out to be a lot bigger. He said, so I got to go a little higher. But he says, listen, I'm not going to charge you the full amount that I should because I need to get my name out there. So he says, I'll cut you a deal. And I actually talked to another friend of mine that has a truck, and he says, man, the job you got, and he says, I paid $2,900 for mine, and you got more stuff on your truck.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that reminds me, do either of you know, I think Ty, you would do, and Jayde, you probably do because he's a legend, but Andy Zeri with his 1956 Mac that's now in Australia. Anyways, I mean, his Mac, he cleaned it with a toothbrush and it won some awards at Pro Truck. Yeah, so you know it, Ty, right?
Yeah. Back when I worked for RDK, when that truck sold and got shipped off to Australia, I wasn't the one that hauled it, but a real good friend of mine hauled it out to the East Coast to put it on a ship.
Yeah. Oh, is your friend?
Well, yeah, my buddy Jace hauled his truck out to the East Coast there.
Nice.
They shrunk wrapped the whole truck and everything. It was crazy. It looked like a white Mac going down the road, all like the stacks, and they took the stacks off, and yeah, they really took care of it. But I actually met the first time I met the gentleman there. I can't remember his name.
Andy.
Andy, yeah. The first time I met him, he was actually on his way to the auction with that truck. It was his last drive with it, so
Yeah.
it was kind of a
He poured his
special
heart-
moment there.
He poured his heart and soul into that. And so tying into Jayde's story about the polish, I'll never forget talking to Andy, and he said, you know, he was down at it was a show in Oregon, I think. The first time he kind of got competitive, and he had this guy come up to him and he says, you know, your truck could win this show. And I think this was like 20 years ago, and it was $5,000 that he said, you know, you let me work on your truck, and I'm going to spend a ton of hours. It's going to cost you $5,000, but you will win this show. And he won the show with the truck, and then it just continued on. And he learned the value of.
Yeah, well, that's like, it's actually really funny because while we were out shooting, this competition came up, and hey, so I actually submitted a different picture on, and we're kind of looking at it, and Dakota with Creations is like, well, just hold on. He says, I'll give you one to post. He says, take that one down, put this one up. So we did.
Yeah.
And we did that like on a complete whim.
Yeah.
And while we were doing that, there was hot rodders and bikers driving, and this one guy pulls up to the light with a black Harley with blue underglow. And I'm like, I gave a holler out, I waved him over. So he actually went around the block and he came back in.
Yeah.
And we took pictures with his bike and my truck at the location that that picture was taken. And it turns out that that guy was also a truck driver, where Kevin's dad actually polished his truck back in the day. And he started mentioning Lesco, about that Lesco's doing their truck show this year.
Yes.
And I says, oh, I thought they weren't supposed to be doing it or whatever. Like, I thought they weren't going to be doing the show in China anymore. And he said, well, no, they decided to keep doing it. And he says, and then he turned around. So Kevin, we were all talking, and Kevin said, man, he said, that'd be cool to go to that level. And I looked at him and I said, well, I always wanted to put a truck in the show. I says, you polish it, I'll take it to the show. I said, and maybe we could do it together, all three of us. And he said, sure. And I told my wife, and she basically pre-booked us already. So we got one spot set aside for us. So we're hoping that COVID stays away and we can get in. So
you know what? Tis Alberta. We will meet you up in Let's Go Pro and Show and Shine. That's that's awesome. I'm glad you're coming. It's a great show. Let's Go are great people.
Yeah, actually, all my blue underglow is actually ordered from them, from Lloyd to Peterbilt. Yeah,
that's awesome. I thought you said all my blue underwear is ordered.
Oh, oh, the underglow there, Dave.
I'll have to phone Tina and say, when did you start selling underwear?
She'd be like, what are you talking about?
And I'd have to tape her response because it would be priceless.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I've been in business on my own for 4 years now, and like, actually, it's funny story is I ordered my truck because we were going backwards, and my buddy Jamie Grant, which she's in the calendar in July for this year, he says, I told him I was ordering a new truck, and he was wafting on buying one or keeping his old truck. And I said, man, there's nothing like a new truck. So like literally between me and him talking, he all of a sudden calls me up one day, says, yeah, I did. And I says, you did what? He says, I ordered a new truck. I said, what did you get? He says, I went with a Kenworth. So I just laughed and was like, right on. So it's kind of funny because he's actually the one that got me to come over to BAMS and start hauling for BAMS. So
he's an influential guy.
No, he is. So it was actually funny that I got my new truck before he got his. So it actually shifted him into coming to the new side too. So it's kind of funny. That's
cool. And he ordered it from a very cool guy as well. I've just gotten to know him. And actually, he took the pictures of his truck for last year's calendar. But Andy, the guy out of Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And getting to meet Andy and seeing some of his videos, like, wow, it's just what I like about him. He's just authentic. Like he you can tell he cares about what he does, and he gets his clients, and so it was fun.
Well, I know Nakota is supposed to be doing up a video for my truck as well.
Nice.
They did do up one for a guy. It's a blue truck. They call it the number 4, and it's he had some sort of disease or some like he's going for treatments for a disease he's got, and basically the truck is completely done for fundraising. And actually, if you look under the Shine Guys' videos, you'll actually see it, and it's up there as the number 4, and it's just a blue and chrome truck, and it's just a very sexy unit.
Sweet.
So yeah, so it's really neat to, so and Nakota did the video for that as well. So it's like
Nice. So people have to check out Nakota Designs Facebook page as well.
Nakota Creations.
Nakota Creations, thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely, we'll check that out. That's cool. Good picture. So you're in Rimbey. You mentioned Lacombe, which is where my wife went to high school. And so
really?
She's from Clive, just outside of Lacombe. And Lacombe High was her high school. So
that's actually really funny because I actually grew up in Vegreville, and me and my wife moved out to Rimbey kind of on a limb and stayed at some friend's cottage out at the lake. And we're like, okay, well, we like it down here. So we basically initially bought the house because no one would rent to us because we had a husky. And so we basically bought an oversized doghouse. But we decided we really like it here. So we've been living here for 8-10 years now. And it's just been, we love the area. And it's like, I've always worked out of Edmonton for all my jobs because I worked with Gibson's when I first started driving truck. I also worked for Gibson's as an owner operator. Then I went to TF, and then I was all over the States. And then that was falling shy, and it was just like, well, where do we go? And she's like, you got to get close to home. And then boom, bams, Lacombe.
Yeah.
They're from Lacombe. They're been in business for 30 some years. It's like, hey, let's give them a whirl. And so we really like it because they're really good to work for, and they're close. And
look at that.
That's awesome.
Lacombe is a cool town, and even Logan's agreeing. See, your son's agreeing in the background there.
Yeah.
So
he's kind of been on the move here. Like he's got to be moving around and being carried. Otherwise, he's not happy today for some reason. So
I was gonna say he's like his dad because you're moving around all the time too, but you don't need to be carried all the time. So
no, I don't think my wife can hold me up long enough.
So this is a good time as any. Introduce your family, because I mean, what do we do it all for? No matter what we do, we do it for our family. So
just give me a second. I'll get my daughter down here.
That's awesome.
She's a little talking.
That's cool. And you worked for Gibson's. One of my favorite shots of all time. It was during the winter on Highway 12. There's a little shack. It's stopped beside the road, an abandoned shack between Lacombe heading towards Clyde. And I pulled on the side of the road, and it was like 3 feet of snow. And I trudged into this shack. And at Gibson's, I got inside the shack and was shooting from inside. So the door is like a frame of the picture. And this Gibson's truck comes by, and it's that pulling footprints in the sand. And it's like footprints in the snow. And then this truck, I loved it. I sent it into Gibson's. I think they've got it on their wall somewhere. And
nice.
It's a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Family.
So there's the little man, Logan, and the wife, Sarah, and the daughter's hiding behind me. Come here, Jalen. Come say hi to these guys.
Oh, come on, Jalen. We need to meet you. Hi, Jalen.
She likes playing the shy thing, but when she comes out of her little bubble, she's very talkative. And come here.
So what's the love story here? How did you two meet before you created these two?
So me and the wife, me and Sarah, we actually go way back. So back in the day, I lived in a small town called Lavoie with my mom and my stepdad and my brother.
Okay.
And her dad used to actually live up on the corner in the same little town. Yep. So we all grew up as kids. Then she moved away out of high school, and I was still in high school because she's a few years older than me. And it turns out that we bumped into each other like 3 or 4 times over the years, and just both wound up back in Bakerville. And then the story I like is the one night I was outside of a bar letting my truck warm up. I had a lifted F-150.
Yep.
I'm sitting there letting it warm up. It's raining outside, and I hear the door close. I look beside me, and I looked at her, and she's sitting in the passenger seat. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" She goes, "You're giving me a ride home." I'm like, "Oh, am I?" She goes, "Yep." So I gave her a ride home, and then we just started dating after that, and the rest is history. And the fact that we've known each other since we were like 5 years old is even better. So
That's crazy. That's very cool.
yeah,
Not very many people can go back that far in their relationship with their wife or husband. So that's pretty special.
Yeah.
You guys got that.
Yeah, that is so
he'll
cool.
come back. See?
So when did you start trucking? How'd you get into this?
I started, so I was working in an oil field back when I came out. I was building oil refinery tanks and doing different constructions, and then I got onto the oil fields. And I don't know, I just started, get 6-7 years in on the rigs, and it's like people don't appreciate, if you're a roughneck, they don't appreciate the experience. So I finally dropped out of that, and I started working at Wing and Back in Calgary with my father.
Yep.
And did that off and on for a few years, and then I just finally was like, I've always wanted to drive trucks. I've always been fascinated with the trucks. So I wanted to get into class 1, and the wife says, "Well, what do you need to do that?" And I said, "Well, it's like $2,500 to go to the school." And I said, "Well, typical rig guy spends all the money." So she lent me the money, and I got my class 1 and started driving, and
That's awesome.
was having a hard time finding someone to hire people with no experience. So my buddy Wes, I made a post on Facebook, and my buddy Wes from Meg says, "We'll come haul for Gibson's." He says, "I could probably get you in." I'm like, "Dude, I got 1 year's experience, and I got like 3 months on anhydrous." I said, "What am I going to get with that?" And he says, "Trust me." So buddy vouched for me, and he got me in, and I made a name for myself, and here we are.
What's Wes's last name?
Anthonchuk.
Oh, okay.
He's out of Bakerville. He's actually currently hauling for Plains, and he runs a fleet of Volvo, so we're constantly back and forth about making jokes.
Yeah,
So-
Plains has got some nice stuff. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so
So, Jayde-
the Volvos, yes. The what was that, Sammy? What did Sammy call it? The Elite White Volvo Club or something?
Yeah,
yeah.
he always calls it the
Oh,
Oh, we're losing you there, Ty.
sloppy nose elite.
Yeah,
what-
Floppy nose elite.
Yeah,
Hey, Ty, has Sammy found a good French Canadian girl yet?
no, he hasn't. I've been bugging him about it every time I talk to him, and I tell him like, "Where's this French Canadian chick?" And he just laughs about it.
See, I call them the flip flop mafia.
Yeah,
And I actually bugged my buddy Wes because he's like, "Yeah, I'm buying a Volvo. Actually, I'm buying 2 of them." I'm like, "Dude, I'm so going to buy you flip flops and some cloth." And he starts laughing, eh? And then he goes and buys a 3rd one, and then it's like, Jesus, man, slow down.
well, I mean, there's honestly like those are some. I've never actually really driven one, but those Volvos are supposed to be really comfortable trucks.
I actually took
And if you're,
I took buddies. I actually got the luxury because I was actually teaching my brother-in-law to get his class 3. So my buddy Wes let me the one I learned in. Plus, he says I have a new Volvo. He says take it out for a ride and let him feel the size of the truck. So we were out driving, and I said, "Okay." I says, "Andrew," I said, "I'm sorry, but I got to kick you out of the driver's seat here for a minute." And he says, "Why?" I says, "Because I got to say I at least drove a Volvo." So I jumped in and took it for a ride. And it actually was, going down the back roads, it was actually a comfortable truck. And it is, their torque is pretty unbelievable when you're just bobtailing. Like, you can literally spin through the gears if you punch it and leave your foot into it. But I don't know. I just don't. I love having a hood in front of me, just for the crash aspect or for whatever. Like you give me
it's not about the crashes, it's about the looks, buddy.
well, it's about the looks for me too. And I believe it or not, I can't judge aerodynamic for the life of me. Like I don't know why, but they just don't feel weird to me, and I like having that hood because you gauge so much better with it.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys in on a little tiny secret. I've been working on I'm building a truck right now, and believe it or not, I'm going with sloped nose T660.
Wow.
And I think it's actually gonna be really cool when we're done with it.
That's awesome. So are you still driving Gypsy like for your main work? Like what's happening with the other truck?
Probably gonna end up rebuilding the motor in it and then selling it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just like the truck is getting to the point now where it needs to find a home on like a farm and just kind of die.
Well, you live in the right place. We're all surrounded by farms. So
yeah. Well, that's kind of like us. Like me and the wife are really talking about it, and with putting all the extended warranties on these things. Like we've already gone through warranty with our truck a few times, and I just looked at her and said, "Hey, I'm kind of in on this bug. Yeah, we're always going to have payments, but it's nice to walk out of the shop without owing any money."
Yeah.
Too. Every 5 years, you get to order a new truck with a new design. So,
So okay, Ty, here's the scoop. I'm giving you 30 seconds. So we'll chat for a little bit, but like later on in the interview, you got 30 seconds to pitch an ad for this truck. So since a ton of people are going to be hearing this, you need to tell them about this truck that needs a home on a farm. And so you can do an advertisement and just get ready for that. Okay. So I won't throw it on you right away, but in a little bit, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to go, Ty, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm just going to let you.
I got to try and sell my old red truck.
Well, whatever you want to sell, it's the Ty Jam Marketplace Hour. So that's what we're going to get you to do. Okay, so just think about that. If you want to sell the red truck or this truck, whatever you want to sell, Ty's selling something today, and Ty's a good man, and so there's somebody that needs to buy whatever he's selling.
World-renowned truck going up for sale.
Yeah,
Bidder gets it.
Yeah, definitely. So, Jake, what does the future hold for you? Like, what's now? Are you you're a company driver right now, or are you an owner?
No, I'm owner operator. I bought and owned the truck.
So yeah, so you got that. You want to grow a fleet? What do you want to do?
I've thought of that. Right now with the way the times are, it's really tough to get bigger and get more trucks.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, it kind of sucks for the industry because it's getting harder to find guys who actually take pride and actually, are willing to drive the trucks with respect. I mean, my buddy Wes had a driver, drove the shit out of the truck. I know another guy that has another driver, drives the crap out of the truck.
Yeah.
It's all about the money right now for these drivers. And it's like, okay, well, where's the respect factor? Because like on the rigs, you destroy the equipment, you don't have it to work with. So, it would be nice to have a fleet of trucks, but at the same time, it's my passion to drive the trucks and to have a big shiny truck. And so I'm just quite happy with being my own owner operator.
That's cool. Yeah, Ty won't let me touch the steering wheel, so I understand this. You want to take care of your truck, and
I do eventually. Hauling for TF was really great. I in the 2 years I worked for them, I pretty much have been from Ontario over to BC, and I've hit 39 states.
Nice.
So
are you still legal in all 39?
Yeah,
that's good.
So I must say, I eventually do. I do love running stateside with decks and stuff, but that's such a hard racket to get into and do. So I mean, working with BAMs and the steady work that they have right now has just been really great for me. So I think if I can manage to do good and stay with them for probably 2-3 years would be until I run this truck out would be great, and then eventually get back to hauling states because I'd like to take the kids and the wife for
And can I
tours.
tell you, like, yeah, like there's I've got 2 kids as well. They're now going, 2 girls. They're now in their approaching their teenhoods. But you know what? It's a special time for you to be around home.
Yeah,
Really now.
and that's the big thing with the 2 little ones. Like Jayde already hates at me being gone for 5 days, let alone 10 to 12 like I was with DF. So.
And they're not ready to appreciate the ride yet. So I think your timing's perfect. Enjoy where you're at now, and down the road, if you want to go stateside and they're big enough to tag along and appreciate the trip and remember the trip and memories, I think.
Yeah, and that's how I figure it. So I mean, even if it's 10 years from now, I really don't care.
Yeah.
Like, but eventually it'll be neat to go back down. I do really appreciate the way that a lot of you just get a lot more courtesy down there. And when I tell people that, they're like, really? They look at me like deer in the headlights. It's like, yeah, like you guys don't understand. And they're like, oh, but all these horror stories. And I'm like, it must be the Canadian plates or something, because I mean, I haven't had one bad situation down there. So.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, I like it. Well, it must be your accent, because we've all got a Canadian accent, you know.
I'm busted every time I'm down there. I was at Council Bluffs one night for supper, and the guy orders a shot of Fireball, and I'm like, "What's with the Fireball? Like, all you guys order down here, eh?" And he's like, he looks at me and he says, "You gotta be Canadian." I'm like, "How can you tell?" He's like, "Eh." I'm like, "I didn't say that." And he's like, "Yeah, you did." And then the waitress is laughing, and she looks at me. She says, "Yeah, you're busted." I'm like, "Okay." So it was quite funny.
But A-word, and they're all like, you're Canadian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like another word that gives us away is about. Apparently, we say that very differently than Americans.
That's funny.
I've been to the States and I've said that word, and within 2 seconds, it's like, you're Canadian. It's like, what?
You know, believe it or not, I was down in Houston, Texas. I think it's Richie Road, Flying J. There's a Denny's, and I sat down there, and this waiter guy comes up to me and asked me what I wanted to drink, and I said Pepsi or Coke will be fine, and that's all I said. And he's like, "You're Canadian." I was just like, "What? How?" It's crazy.
I remember heading to Florida once, and I was a young kid with my family, and so we were driving from Ontario, where I lived at the time, down to Georgia. And Mel's Diner was a program. You both of you are way too young to remember that sitcom, but there was this waitress, Alice, and it was like her famous phrase was "kiss my grits," and I had never had grits in my life. And so here was my chance. But the waitress at the restaurant, she was the sweetest thing, but we could not understand a word she was saying. Trying to order between our accent and hers was hilarious. I wish there was video cameras back then, because it would have been a great thing to tape.
Well, me and my wife, we went down to Monster Jam down in Las Vegas for the World Finals, because we ended up doing it for our honeymoon, going to Vegas. So she says, "When would you want to go?" And I said, "During this time." So she says, "Okay." So we were in line waiting, and we were actually talking to, I forget where that couple was from. I think Montana, I think they were from, or something.
It's a good
but they're like, "Yeah, you're Canadian." And we're like, "How can you tell?" And they're like, "You Canadians, you guys talk a lot slower than us." And we're like, "What do you mean I talk slower?" And they just said, "You just naturally talk slower. Like, it's a giveaway." And we're like, me and the wife are like looking at each other, just laughing. We're like, "Okay."
Did you two do the drive-through?
The drive-through.
Yeah, the drive. Like, you got married in Alberta, right? But then you went out for your honeymoon. You didn't do one of those drive-through chapels?
No.
No.
Actually, we didn't even go to Fremont Street. Actually, that was the one place we wanted to hit, but we had the 3-day event with the Monster Jam, so it was like kind of ate it all up. And then we got a rental car and went out to Arizona afterwards. So
sweet.
Hey, that's where I'm going next week. Arizona, Phoenix.
Nice.
Yeah, you could meet a bunch of Canadians down there in the trailer park.
I'll tell you a really cool drive going there is when you come out of Utah just into this kind of on the west side there, just as you come into Arizona, there's like some really windy roads that are like really good for bikes. But you all of a sudden come to the end of it and you do like you go do a couple switchbacks and you go from being way up high down to literally a straight highway in the bottom in this canyon, and you're actually on the north side of the Grand Canyon. And we went that way when we went down to Arizona while my first truck was getting the head redone and the head gasket. So we went to go move some stuff up for her parents, and we ended up actually not going down the road we were supposed to. We got lost and we ended up doing this tour, and we're like, this is cool. So going on that side of the Grand Canyon and then going down into Arizona was really cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best roads are the ones that you didn't mean to take.
Yeah. And it was so beautiful because I guess it's like an enchanted forest there or whatever that you drive through. And it's just like, it's literally like driving in the movie Cars. Like you got like really windy spots and lots of trees, and then you spit out onto the bottom and you got all this red rock and canyons around you. It's just really wild.
And that all happened because your truck broke down and you needed to spend
Get away.
Yeah. So speaking of a truck that needs fixing, I think that Ty Jam, the world-renowned trucker, has a world-renowned truck that belongs on a farm that he wants to sell. So Ty, tell us about it.
Okay, so it's a really good deal. It's a 2000 and something or other, I think 5. Some assembly required. If you like snuggling up with cat engines, that's perfect because half the motor is on the bed. It gets really good fuel mileage right now as long as you're pushing it. And I'm blowing it out real cheap. Mostly, I'm blowing it out the door mostly because the door doesn't close. And I'm only asking, I don't know, maybe 45 grand for it. It's got really, really good rusty 373 gear ratio differentials in it. That's about the only thing on the truck that's still kind of there. It does have a 13-speed transmission, but it's kind of like held in with a bungee cord right now. It's a really good deal. The hood is all cracked up. It kind of has like a sad face look, so it looks really good on a farm, kind of wanting to die. It'll fit out in your junkyard really, really well.
Do you deliver, Ty?
I will deliver it. If somebody writes me a check for like 30, 40 grand, I will definitely haul it there free of charge.
So where should they send the check to?
Gypsy Express.
Okay, address?
Oh,
phone number? Email?
Let's go with phone number. No, email. Let's go email.
Okay.
ty.smokingtransport@gmail.com.
And smoking is S-O-M, not S-O-M, Sumpkin.
That is why we're truck drivers, because we got spell.
Smoking, S-M-O-K-E-N, right? Not I-N. K-E-N, yes.
Yep.
It's Sumpkin special.
Yeah, like the truck's not really worth anything. I think I'm gonna parts it out, honestly.
Hey, no, like don't back down on this, because I saw in the news today that some guy sold his statue that he was this artist in the States. It was in New York somewhere. It was a statue that really didn't exist. It was a pretend statue. So like the exhibit was like had a white stand and there was nothing on it. But that was his thing, is that this statue is in your mind. And someone paid him $18,000.
Oh, wow.
So your truck,
this can be a statue in your, it can be whatever you want, as long as you have your eyes closed.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want.
As long as you have your eyes
So
closed.
I think 30 grand for a truck that actually exists compared to 15 grand American, which is like 35 grand Canadian, for a statue that doesn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we sold our Pete, we pretty much, it was the truck was in really good shape, and we sold it for basically 49 grand just to pay the truck off.
Yep.
And the guy found the guy, and I said to the guy, I said, well, what did you think? Like, because he like really lowballed us just to get the truck because he was going unseen, right? He says,
Yeah.
once I got the truck, he says, I was actually very surprised. I says, what were you surprised about? He says, the pictures do it no justice. I says, well, that's why I was asking what I was asking for. But he got a good deal on it, so I don't know what he ever did to it. Some guy out of Manitoba, so.
Okay, so if some guy out of Manitoba is listening and you recognize this story, we need to send pictures in to either ty.smokeandtransport or david@wowtrucks.com or contact us some way. We need to find out what happened.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, because like he was supposed to send me pictures, but never did. And I was like, well, whatever happened to my truck? And everybody asked me, have you seen your old truck around? I'm like, it's a white Pete with a 63-inch bunk. There's lots of them. I don't know. So all I can tell you is there was a little nick off the bottom side of the sleeper that ended up being black because I peeled back some of the sleeper just on the very bottom front corner on the passenger side.
Okay, so that's like a birthmark.
Yep, exactly.
That'll identify your truck.
Did I see long hood?
Huh?
Was it a long hood?
Yeah.
Okay, now every time I see a white long hood, flat top, I'm gonna go and start looking.
Oh, and off flat top, it was a 63 stand-up, but just in the bottom, right behind the stack, there's 6-inch piece gone that got peeled back. So the only way is if they re-sided the sleeper, and that's why I didn't re-side it, because it was like 10 grand or something to do it.
What? Yeah, so what year was that truck? Was it a 389 or a 379?
It was a 389. It was a 2014.
Okay.
Had about just over a million K on it. And it had a 550 ISX deleted.
Ooh, nice.
So, 410 gears.
That'd pull like a freight train, that's for sure.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I bet you the fuel was just as bad as your cat.
You get slammed at least once during these calls, Ty. So you got to be getting used to it.
Hey, actually, I'm doing not bad with this cat. If you like the friends that I hang around with, getting slammed once a month on an interview is nothing. This is like a vacation.
I know once I was in the States one time and I was coming, I think it was northbound out of Oklahoma, and I could see this truck catching me, like he's hightailing it and I'm trying to preserve fuel. So I'm set at like 105, 110. And this guy's just hauling ass up on me, and all of a sudden, he'd back off. And then he'd catch up, and then he'd back off. And I'm like, what's this guy doing? He finally gets on the radio, and he hollers me, and he says, yo, flatbed. And I'm like, what? He's like, what's with you and your speed? I says, well, what do you mean, what's with me and my speed? He says, I catch up to you, and then you pull away. I catch up to you, and then you pull away. He says, like, you can't hold speed? I says, I've had my crew set the whole entire time. I said, you're the one that can't keep having issues. He says, well, I don't understand. I says, well, I'll tell you what. I says, I'm 550 horse with 410 gears. He said, yeah, I'm like 4 3/4 with like 355s, he says. He says, that's why. He says, these little hills, I see, I feel them, but you don't. I says, I'll do you a favor. I said, I'll bump it up a couple more. I bumped it up, and he's like, thank you, and just left them alone back there.
That's the power of the CB. Because you know what? That story is so common for me when I travel on long trips, where you get that car that like races ahead of you and then you pass it, and races ahead of you and you pass it.
Yeah.
And I'm on cruise, and I don't have CBs. So this is the trouble with being 6'3", is I can't do this. But I always wanted to one day put my feet up on the dash, so that they can see that I don't have my foot on the gas pedal and drive by and give it to him.
That's pretty much how the new Canadians drive.
Oh, it's all good. So where are you going for breakfast tomorrow when Ty picks you up?
I'm going to be back down in Rimby here tonight.
Yeah, I'm actually going up north of Edmonton up to West.
Crack? Oh, you going to
Westlock.
Westlock?
Yeah.
Nice.
But where are you
And then I
coming
got-
from? Where are you coming from, Ty? Where are you coming from?
I loaded up in Steinbach this morning.
Oh,
and,
okay. So you're not okay. You're not coming from the south, so you aren't coming
No.
from Calgary. Okay.
No, but after I'm done unloading in Westlock, then I got to turn around, go back into Saskatchewan to load up, and then I'm taking the weekend off, hang out with my parents that I haven't seen in a year and a half,
Wow.
and then I'm off to Arizona, and I'm hauling a load for my uncle down there actually,
Nice.
because he had sold his farm up in Saskatchewan there by my parents' place. And I'm taking some old equipment and tractors and stuff like that down for him. He bought land down in Arizona, and he's a hay farmer. And I think he's still doing a bit of cotton down there.
Oh,
So
wow.
I get to see in the next week and a half here. I get to see a whole bunch of family that I haven't seen in years. So
Nice. Oh, that's
it's gonna be a good time. Yeah.
It'll be a great time. You offended Jade because we lost him.
Oh
He's a good kid.
no. Oops. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's fun to talk to. He's
Yeah,
this is
it's
a
been
good
fun.
good interview.
I thought
So
we would mix it up a little bit today. I had that in mind. I've been getting like kind of predictable, and it's like today we just got to wing it and just have fun. And not that we don't have fun, haven't had fun, but it's like yeah. So and Jade's been great for that. So let me just message him. And
yeah.
yeah. Let me just see.
Really? Okay. For Manitoba, it's hard to maintain good cell service.
Yeah. Hit the link again and yeah.
You get a good guy like that that's just really easy to talk to, and they have really cool stories, and it flows really natural. I like it.
Yes. Yeah, I had posted our interview that we did last month, and I forgot to check the middle, and at one point when we lost him, I wasn't being cruel, but I had said, you know, he's quieter, and I said he's a good egg, he's got a good heart, he's just quieter. And then I was listening to the replay that I posted on YouTube, and I thought I better take that down and just take that out in case it's misinterpreted.
Right.
So, but I cut that out and just did that. So let's see if he comes back in, or if you offended him somehow.
Yeah. Maybe he ran out of data.
Oh, he's pissed off at you.
Oh.
No, just kidding. He says, "Yep, just our internet."
Yeah. It happens.
Look, Kiara, do you want to say hi to Ty? You can't see him, but he's a good guy. Yeah.
I'm doing the blind interview this time. I don't like doing this because I really like having the whole face-to-face. You know, that means a lot to me.
But
But
we
I've
can't
had
get you convicted.
You're not on radio.
Oh, I'm on Zoom, but say hi to Ty. We're waiting. We lost our guy. Like Ty can't be
Hi,
on
Ty.
camera. But,
Why can't he be on camera?
because he's driving at the moment, and that would be
Oh.
offendable, and police would come and get him, and they'd force him to pay his 10 outstanding fines.
Oh.
But he just sold one of his old trucks for $35,000, and so he's gonna be able to pay his fines that are outstanding. So it's good.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say he's gonna buy his dinner.
Well, I would definitely do that too.
he's buying Jay's breakfast.
If somebody was crazy enough to write me 35 grand for that truck, I would take you guys out for a meal for sure. Because that truck right now, and it would be a fancy restaurant too. It wouldn't be like McDonald's. It would be like A&W or something.
I was gonna say that, and you beat me to it. Oh, here comes Jade.
Right on.
Here he comes. We'll get him back.
Oh,
This we're interviewing. He won the All Out Big Rigs photo contest of the month. And so
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jade. We can't
just
see you yet.
interviewing
Yeah,
somebody?
we are. We're on an interview. We're recording, and Jade is up by Rimby, which is close to Clive in Macomb. So he works for. a
Oh,
company on
yes.
Lacombe.
Yeah, I know where Rimby is.
Yeah, so Jade, if you can see us,
There we
yeah,
go.
this is my wife Donna, who went to
Hello.
Lacombe High.
Yeah, went to Lacombe High School.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. You know, I wonder if you know the Kelleher's out of Lacombe.
What?
Kelleher's, Lorelai and Tim Kelleher.
Oh, Lorelai sounds familiar.
What are their kids' names? Rory and Caitlin are the kids. He worked for BJ's that company.
You know what? Speaking of Lacombe, I was going to mention this earlier, but you guys were talking and stuff. I didn't want to interrupt, but I actually went to high school at the private school up on the hill there, the PAA.
How old are you, Kai? How old are you?
I'm 32. Just turned
Oh
32.
my-
Like,
My friend Aaron Christensen graduated
Yeah.
from there.
Aaron, I think I went to school with him.
No, it was a chick, Aaron Christensen. She's
Oh,
good.
okay, never mind. Sorry about that. Aaron, I went to school with Aaron.
Are they Christians?
What was his last name?
Jalen's going to?
No.
Like big.
Aaron Folston. That was his last name. Folston.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Aaron is 1 year older than me, and I'm 37. So
Oh, okay.
I want to know how old we are.
Yeah.
We're not the
We're
same.
not there. But I just want to say that this interview is brought to you by the town of Lacombe. Population 22,332.
Yeah, no, not quite. I don't think so.
That's what I saw. I thought it was growing.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby there.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
adorable.
It's one of the two.
Yeah. So it's all
Anyway,
good.
I'll let you do
Yeah,
your-
do your stuff.
your
Yeah.
interview. Ty, I'm looking forward to our really fancy dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, as soon as this truck sells for $35,000, I'm on my way.
That's awesome.
Love you. Have fun with your interview.
I forgot to mention that the truck's name is Little Frankie, and it's short for Little Frankenstein. Because when I first bought that truck, it was all held together with zip ties and staples. And my
Oh,
father-in-law was helping me do a bunch of body work on it and kind of putting it together. And he's like, "This thing is like Frankenstein." I was like, "I like it." So we started calling the truck Little Frankenstein, and then that got a little bit long, so everybody just started calling it Little Frankie.
Little Frankie.
You are a secure
Yeah.
man, Ty. You are secure in being a man. If you can call your truck Little Frankie, that's good. So that's awesome. I love it. So Jade, Ty and I are gonna just pepper you with some random questions.
Okay.
And we're just gonna bounce back and forth. So favorite dinner?
Favorite dinner?
Yeah.
A nice big juicy steak with mashed potatoes or roasted potatoes.
Alberta beef.
Yes, sir. I actually have friends that have Blue Ridge Farms, and we actually got a half beef off them. And I said I want thick T-bones. They gave me like 2 to 3 inch T-bone steaks.
Nice.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay, Ty.
nice.
Go for it.
What is your favorite state?
What is my favorite state?
Yeah.
Oh God, honestly, I would have to go for the first state that I ever got to visit, because I still have a friend from that state that I still keep in contact with, and it would be Louisiana.
Ah,
Cool.
I've never been there. It's one of the few states I haven't entered into. I'd like.
I had their gator bites and crawfish the one night when I went out for my final night.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go do this. So I would have to say Louisiana would be my top pick.
Sweet.
That's very cool.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
You know, working the rigs for as long as I did, I don't mind running the nights, but I don't mind running the days. So
You're open 24/7.
yeah, pretty much get the job done.
Yeah, cool.
So when you're burning that midnight oil, what kind of music do you like to listen to that helps you get the job done?
Pretty much anything with a beat, and I have a wide range of music. I listen to lots of country. I listen to some old rock. I listen to some new alternatives. I actually got a couple new songs from just movies and TV shows, so a little bit of everything, man. As long as it's got a good jam.
Nice. What are you buying Sarah for your next anniversary?
Mm.
I just bought her an F-150, okay? Come on. And actually, speaking of which, our next anniversary we just had back in May. I made her a nice dinner, and our wedding anniversary is actually coming up in July on the 20th.
Sweet.
So,
Man, gotta come up.
One, Ty. Last one.
Okay. I got this. Where is your favorite? Where was your? Well, no, that kind of goes with that first question I asked you. That doesn't really work. What's your favorite lake to go camping at?
oh, jeez, come on. Seriously, man? I went out to Abraham Lake and camped out in the bush for like 6-7 years straight. And so I would have to say, I think our new passion will be Gull Lake because, well, her parents live there and that's where our boat is. So.
Oh, right on.
That's awesome. I love it. That's really cool. So, Jayde, congratulations again. It's been a blast chatting with you. I'm going to give you minutes to give your final message and salutations to the people in All Out Big Rigs. When did you join All Out Big Rigs? That'll be the last question. When did you join?
Oh, I think I joined that, I bet you about 3 years ago. A guy named John Piers that I was hauling TF with, he actually locked me into it. So
okay.
I was like, oh, okay. And then I saw your ad there when you were doing the calendar post that I'm still currently hammering pictures to try to get into. So basically, yeah, that's just the way he got me in there. And I've been an active participant since then. And it's actually really funny because when I first bought this truck, TF ended up giving me a wide load out of Beasley, Texas.
Yep.
And they gave us a step deck, and he was like, that's the wrong one. You got to go back and get a double drop. And it was a booster Jeep combo unit. It was a 9-axle load. So I went back, and they're like, yeah, your trailer's out in the back. They said, just drop that one in the middle row, and your trailer's on the back row. And I'm like, well, what's the unit number of the trailer? And he said, don't worry about it. You can't miss it. I'm like, well, you guys got a lot of trailers. How can I not miss it? They're like, it's the newest set of trailers. Actually, it is the newest trailer we have, and it hasn't hauled a single load yet. So we loaded up and went to Beasley, Texas, and on our way back in South Dakota on, I think is it the 94 or the 90? That's 80 mile an hour. That goes over towards Plankton.
That should be the 90.
Yes, okay. So on the 90, we just got rolling from permits, and we came across, I was like watching this truck come at me, and I'm like, oh my God. So I go on the radio, and I'm like, dude, nice rig. And he says, he gets back on the CB, he says, yeah, nice rig too. He says, I saw you on make the post of your wide load coming out of Beasley a few days ago. And it was the guy, I can't remember his name. He's out of Sioux Falls, and he drives bright lime green Peterbilt with an orange frame. All stretched out.
Okay.
He's won a couple shows and stuff, and I think he even made it into Shell Rotella calendar.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't remember his name.
Was it a Jayde truck?
No.
No. Okay.
He's out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh.
The only guy that's popping up to my mind right now that runs a green truck, but he doesn't have the orange frame on it. But I think I know which truck you're talking about. I'm pretty sure I know which truck. It's like a flat top, right?
Yes, and he's gone to multiple shows with it. So it's a renowned truck.
With it?
Huh?
Does he pull a tanker with it?
No, he pulls flatbed.
Flatbed, okay.
He might be pulling tanker now. I don't know.
Yeah, huh.
Can't remember
There's
his
another
name.
mystery. If anybody knows who we're talking about, email me.
Yeah, because we now have your email.
No. But yeah, it was just really neat to see him because I saw his truck on All Out Big Rigs and he saw my truck on All Out Big Rigs. So it was kind of a neat meeting point. So
It's a very cool group to be a part of.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it is really, really neat though, because with this group, I have gotten to meet so many cool people that are very, very close friends of mine now, all because of the group.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just wish that up here they'd use CBs a lot more and get a little bit more chatter.
Yeah.
So-
Well, start talking on it. I always have mine on, but sometimes people will say, "Oh, I tried shouting at you," and it's like I honestly didn't hear anything. So I don't know. Maybe my antenna works when it wants to, or maybe they were having issues with theirs or something.
Well, that's what
But
I
like when
always think. I came across one guy with an old Kenworth that was orange cab over, hauling orange and black trailers. I was on my way down to Hardesty, and then me and him talked for a brief moment there, and then all of a sudden I was coming back and I was on the Hendy and I was passing him. And I'm like, "Hey, nice to see you again, the same day, dude." And he was an older fella, and he, typical old school trucker on the CB. So I mean,
Yeah. We need to bring that stuff back because like the way how the industry is now, it's like everybody for themselves. Like, man, back in the 80s when there was somebody broke down on the side of the road, another trucker would pull over and they would help get him going again. And like now it's too convenient to call a dispatcher and be like, "Hey, I have an issue. This is where I'm at." And then you just sit there and wait for somebody to come out and fix it for you.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's no fun in that.
And the thing is, up here, everybody has a big issue. Oh, well, two ways of the way because you can go 30K. Well, wait a minute. We still have American brothers that come up that aren't on the two-way. So CB should be a mandatory thing in these trucks, minimum requirement. Two ways, okay, sure. If I have a 2-way and you got a 2-way, sure. I'll shoot the shit with you for however far we can go. But CB should be in every truck. So
Are you going to have an official use your CB month?
Hey, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think
we should do that because there's some guys that have some really, really cool decked out CB radios. Yeah. We should do a profile contest with CB radios, not the truck, just the CB radio. And then whoever's got the most votes, well, then we can talk to them about CVs. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I think that'd be really
I'm always trying to come up with different ideas and stuff like that for the contest because I like to get guys that are limited on what they can do because maybe they're driving a company truck or something like that. I like to get those guys involved somehow because if you just do like straight up contests of like whoever has
Today, Junior.
Are you okay there, Ty? Because you're breaking
on your truck. Well, then it's always a guy's
and see white Peter belts.
Order. So I'm probably gonna end up losing service here.
Oh, you're back now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
He did lose you. It was quite funny.
Kind of like being beamed up by Scotty. You were somewhat there, and then we were worried about losing you, and then Scotty finally beamed you up, so it's good.
It's like on Spaceballs when he comes in backwards with his head on backwards.
Oh, gentlemen, this has been a blast.
Goodbye.
Mr. Jayde, congratulations once again on winning and all of Big Rigs No Limits. We look forward to watching your career continue and all things good ahead for you and your family. Awesome hearing and being able to share your story. All right, driver stories, Scott Sewell, Jayde Koecher. One thing left to do. Get ready. It's WOW Nationals virtual big rig racing at Lesko International Speedway. Official carrier of this imaginary race is Dan Ross. The pit crew is our friends at Jayde Mechanical, and NAL Insurance isn't as worried as they normally would be if the race is real, as our official insurer for WOW National Virtual Big Rig Racing. We've got 2 qualifying heats that are coming up. The call, Slam and Sammy. It's all in his head. We don't know. I don't know who's going to win. I give him the names of the people that registered, and his call decides the winners. The top 2 places from each one of these qualifying heats will move on to the final to determine this month's Canadian Virtual Big Rig WOW National Champion. And that'll happen next week, June 28th. You'll hear the finals call. Tune in next Monday to hear the finals call. In support of, it's just a ton of fun, but it's to make a difference. And you can make a difference. It's in support of Lions Foundation Guide Dogs of Canada. And as I mentioned, Slam and Sammy, I've known him for many years, legally blind. Irv, his guide dog, 3 years ago, changed his life. And we're trying to make a difference by, as truckers that enter, donate as part of their registration into the race, raise funds for another guide dog to make a difference in someone else's life. If you want to make a contribution to the Guide Dogs Lions Foundation of Canada, you certainly can. Go to wowtrucks.com, follow the links, support this great cause, support Slam and Sammy as he donates his time every single month to create these awesome calls and give us a lot of fun in bringing people together and just having a ton of fun when real racing isn't a possibility just yet. So here we go, out to Edmonton, Alberta, Lesko International Speedway, and the call of the first 2 qualifying races of the WOW Nationals Virtual Big Rig Racing Canadian Championship. It's out to Slammin' Sammy. Here we go.
Well, good afternoon, sports fans. You've got Slammin' Sammy here, the voice of the Canadian Virtual Big Rig Racing Association, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the Lesko International Speedway this afternoon. First of all, let's thank our sponsors for today's events. We've got Lesko Distributors right out of Edmonton, Alberta, the Truckers Candy Store supplying chrome and accessories. And how about the good folks at Day and Ross Transportation, delivering what drives you right out of Heartland, New Brunswick. And you cannot forget the experts for all your truck and trailer repair specialists, of course, right out of Balzac, Alberta, Jayde Mechanical, and of course the leading provider of insurance coverage in Canada, across Canada, the good folks at NAL Insurance. Today, folks, we'll be running 2 qualifying races with 2 trucks out of each race going to the June finals, which will be held on Monday, June 28th, to crown the undisputed champion for the month of June. Folks, let's introduce these professional drivers for our first race. We've got Tyler Rogers, Ty Jam. He's back. He's running that 2007 Kenworth W900. Truck name is Gypsy. He's the man from Morton, Manitoba. Then you've got Hannaberry, Sean Hannaberry. He goes by Lanterns. He's got a 2019 T680, I believe. Yes, it is a T680. And his truck name is very interesting. How about this one? Oh, Black Betty Bama Lamb. That gentleman's from New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. Welcome to Edmonton, Sean. And of course, Todd Whitus. He goes by some nickname, which I'm not sure where this came from, but it's Alberta Large Car. Isn't that interesting? 2009 Peterbilt, and that truck name is going to be Roxanne. He'll be shooting out of a Cummins with a Cummins 600, I believe. Yes, yeah. And he's right out of Edmonton, Alberta. Lots of fans here for Todd today. And welcome family and friends of Todd Whitus. And of course, a legend, a big rig racer, actual big rig racer, national champion. He's here today. Swervin Mervin Paderny out of Rocky Mountain House with that big Caterpillar. Folks, we're getting ready to go. The trucks are in position. We're going to have a running start here, and it's looking pretty good. And that flag is up in the air. They're going to be coming out of that corner. And there they go. They're off and running. We've got Rogers and Hannaberry side by side in Gypsy and Black Betty Bama Lamb. Right behind them is going to be Swervin' Mervin and Roxanne in second spot. They're coming out of that first corner. Now let's pick it up. Gypsy's moved ahead, I'd say, by a hood and a half. That Black Betty Bama Lamb in second, Roxanne in third, and Swervin' Mervin right behind that in fourth. As we go pick up first stretch, that's where the power comes into play. Paderni's now back side by side against Roxanne, and Black Betty Bama Lamb has moved actually ahead of Gypsy. It's starting to pick it up. These guys are gaining speed as they learn the track, and Gypsy's back and forth. So we've got Black Betty Bama Lamb in first, Gypsy right behind them. Paderni's moved up into third, and Roxanne has dropped to fourth. The man from Edmonton. Here we go. It's getting a little quicker out here. They're coming back to that first corner, and Roxanne has decided to go high. I don't know what Whitus is thinking out there, because he could get himself in a jam, but Black Betty Bama Lamb has got some jam, and here we go. Has just gone by Gypsy. So Black Betty Bama Lamb in first, Gypsy second. Paderni's moved to third and Roxanne in fourth. I'll tell you what, don't turn out the lights yet though, because Roxanne is way cut across the track, has moved into the inside. It's starting to pick up. Swervin' Mervin looks like he's going to take over second spot against Black Betty Bama Lamb. Gypsy has moved into first spot. So we got Gypsy, Paderni, Black Betty Bama Lamb, and Roxanne is trying hard to... Oh, there goes Roxanne high on the wall now. He's gone by Paderni with that big cat power. Whoa, things are shaping up from the boy from Edmonton, Alberta, and Black Betty Bama Lamb is in the middle of the track. It could open up a wall here for Paderni. He's moved into second spot. Gypsy's hanging on to the first, but I don't know if he can outrun that cat. So you got Gypsy, you got Paderni, you got Rogers, you got them all. It's a moving parking lot out there, I'll tell you folks. We're coming down to the third corner. It's going to be tight. We've got 3 trucks abreast in second spot. Roxanne has moved up. You got Swervin' Mervin and Sean Hannaberry and Black Betty Bama Lamb in second. And Ty Jam is managing to hang on to first spot. But I don't know if he can do it. It's going to be close. They're coming out of the fourth and final third. And Ty Jam is still hanging on. But here comes Swervin' Mervin. It's going to be close. It's tic-tac-toe. 3 in a row. Down across the post they come. It looks like could be, and it is. Ty Jam, Black Betty Bama Lamb, and Roxanne at the wire. Stand by for your official results. Stand by for your official results. Folks, these drivers today have just run one heck of a race. They contribute their entry fees to the Lions Foundation of Canada Dog Guides. These professional drivers are not only committed to their family, their friends, but their community as well. The Lions Foundation of Canada has over 3,200 dog teams out there servicing 7 different categories, from canine vision, autism, diabetic alert, seizure alert, facilities, and professional organizations. We'd like to thank these participants and the supporters and sponsors for today's qualifying events. We have the official results for race number 1. Crossing the finish line in second was Black Betty Bama Lamb, which will be moving on to the June finals. It was very close. Ty Jam, Tyler Rogers, the man from Morton, Manitoba, managed to hang on by about 2 screws in a bumper. He's in first spot in race number 1. Congratulations to Ty Jam and Black Betty Bama Lamb. Hannaberry and Rogers, you're in the final. Congratulations.
All right. Wow. Congratulations. We've got our finals for next Monday's show, June 28th. Wow Nationals, Canadian champion. It's between these 4 men. Congratulations. for placing in the top 2 trucks in each one of these 2 qualifying heats. In next week's final, Coleman Ketz in Hopalong, Steve Austin, the $1 Million Man, Gypsy, driven by Tie Jam, and Sean Henneberry in his truck Lanterns. Tune in next week. You want to support Lions Foundation, Guide Dogs of Canada, go to wowtrucks.com. Help us make a difference. That wraps up this week's show. Hope you have an awesome week. God bless. David out.